Timeskip Boruto is not a shinobi anymore, up until this moment. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said this line in the opening sequence.
忍びの時代は終わる
The getup of Boruto from the future could be a foreshadowing that he also left the path of shinobi. And it was at this moment when he decided to revert on the ninja way. So what could have forced Boruto out of the shinobi system, and why wasn't he able to stop Kawaki from wreaking havoc in the village? Does it further prove that he had went rogue? Stay tuned to find out the 4 different circumstances that could make Boruto forsake the village. These 2 are my personal favorites, so don't miss them. Momoshiki is a genius. Let me explain how. We all know Boruto is about to witness some dark episodes in his life, as prophesied by the monster. But we should not forget the prophecy of Toneri, which says that the Jogan will help him to overcome the dark fate. The moon OTSUTSUKI was not only referring to the dark days of the shinobi world, but also the inner darkness of Boruto that will drive him self-destructive. Momoshiki knows some troublesome events are waiting for Boruto that could make him hate his own life. Once Boruto loses the will to live, the monster will get a chance to take over. But the real genius move played by Momoshiki was not to give any hint to the blue-eyed boy regarding the Jogan. Of course, the fate of Boruto is full of flaws, but Momoshiki is trying to turn his destiny into his favor by depriving him of all the hope and optimism. It will be interesting to see if Momoshiki will be able to stop Boruto from impactfully using the divine dojutsu. But how will the host OTSUTSUKI drive Boruto out of his village? Well, that's a bit different story, so hear me out. Right now, we have a few major events lined up for the future of the series, starting from the attack of Code, the cohabitation of the cyborg siblings, and some pesky role of Momoshiki in Boruto's legacy. It seems like Code is preparing to attack the Leaf Village anytime now, and if everything goes as planned for Konoha, Daemon could become their vital asset during the war. But is that actually enough? Definitely not. As we can see, Code has an army of mini Tentacles warriors, and all of them possess an enormous amount of power. The main targets of Code are the ones responsible for Ishiki's death, and chances are he will send one or more of his minions to deal with each of them. This will make the situation troublesome for Boruto, as he's totally clueless when it comes to utilizing his powers in the perfect way. This is where Momoshiki could play his trump card. The monster had pledged to not let Boruto die no matter what the circumstances are, and the attack of Code being a bad news to Boruto's welfare could persuade Momoshiki to take him over. Since Boruto's headband is also broken along with the scar on his right eye, I feel like Code will have a rematch with Boruto, a one-on-one fight where he will lose his right eye with a heavy slash of Code's claws. A few more strikes and Boruto would be on the verge of losing his life, and this would be the moment when Momoshiki would show up. He would deal with Code and his Tentacles monsters in a matter of seconds. But the thing which needs to be noted is that this is gonna be the first time of Momoshiki controlling Boruto ever since he became an OTSUTSUKI. The crazy stuff would begin shortly after Momoshiki would defeat Code and wreak havoc in the entire village in an attempt to seek revenge on people who are responsible for his death. There is also a chance that someone will lose their life by his rampage. And finally, when Boruto would gain the control of his body back, everyone around him will see him as a monster and the greatest danger to the shinobi world. He could be kept in an impulsive prison for safety measures. These circumstances will make Boruto activate his OTSUTSUKI powers in order to escape from the village and never come back until it's too late. Coming on to the second theory, revolving around the ugly plans of the antagonist Code, also involving a really major death. You guys might be wondering, I just explained the role of Code in my previous theory, so what's the point of another prediction with the same character? This time the reason Boruto loses everything and forsakes the village is solely dependent on Code's actions. In my last video, I explained the true potential of Boruto's powers, but it seems like the lack of good preparations before Code's attack will lead to his downfall. Code has been given a pure advantage by the creator, and it seems like after destroying Boruto's eye and headband, he's gonna make a move that will literally shake the world of the blue-eyed boy. Chapter 71 could act as a key foreshadower of the upcoming events, as it has shown us these 3 events one after another, raising the possibility of a connection. Boruto would need to go through some really heart-wrenching character development until the prophecy of Momoshiki is fulfilled. Code has been humiliated 2 times by the good guys, from killing someone he followed religiously to stealing the girl he was crushing on. These grudges could turn him into the most rebellious antagonist of the series, and he would leave no stone unturned to disrupt the killers of Ishiki mentally as well as physically. By keeping in mind the cohabitation arc that's happening in the manga at present, it's safe to say that Code's attack won't be immediate. It will take some time, maybe 2 years or so, and the series won't turn from this to this without any merciless venture. Code's army could be responsible for the killing of someone close to both Boruto and Kawaki that will leave the blue karma wielder in misery, while the red karma wielder will decide to become a reformer. If the war preparations will take 2 years of time period, chances are Himawari will be a shinobi till then, considering her eagerness from chapter 71. I think Code will be after Himawari's life, and here's why I think so. Amaro's daughter passed away 12 years ago and Himawari will be 12 in 2 years. The time skip events are happening 3 years from the current story, so there is definitely a possibility of Himawari dying in the Code conflict, and her death will impact both of her brothers horrendously. The guilt of not being able to save his sister will make Boruto forsake the village, while Kawaki will try to reform the shinobi regime completely. If you are caught up with the manga, you must be knowing that Aida and Daemon are soon gonna start their cohabitation with Boruto and Kawaki. But what if these two mysterious characters will prove to be an even greater nuisance than Code? If Daemon is enough to take on Code and his frightening army, then there should be some other link out there that will lead us to the time skip. So erasing the plot of Code completely from the series leaves us with the handful of predictions made by Momoshiki. The unchangeable dark fate of Boruto is getting closer day by day, and some blue colored eyes will be responsible in making the life of the prodigy miserable. Chances are the blue eyes was a metaphorical reference to Aida and her plotting to take Kawaki away from Boruto that will in turn leave the blue-eyed boy with nothing. Kawaki seems to be not so happy with Boruto's resurrection in chapter 73, and if Aida is able to make him fall in love with her, most probably after learning the immense potential of karma from Amado. But Kawaki could force Boruto out of the Konoha village by telling him that no one is safe around him. The glimpse of Momoshiki that he saw in the last chapter could be a foreshadowing of this event, and once Boruto leaves the village, Kawaki will be manipulated by Aida in ending the era of shinobis once for all. Also, as we have seen Boruto using a sword in the time skip, chances are he might have tried to attack Daemon without being aware of his reflection power, which explains how he got his eye and headband damaged. Moving on to our final theory, how the old man could be pulling the strings behind Boruto's abandonment from Konoha. There are a lot of hints for us to assume this, so let's start off with the most obvious ones. Amado's goal is to use the power of Kawaki in executing his mysterious plan. The circumstances have forced him to discuss it with Konoha as well, and by the looks of it, it seems like the village will deny Amado's offer of using Kawaki for his favor, most probably because the confidentiality of the plan by no means make it Konoha friendly, and who knows, it might even involve the fate of the Shinobi System. Amado would seek revenge on them by manipulating Kawaki against the Shinobi regime. Also, the scientist has promised Kawaki's love to Aida, which makes this theory even more sensible. He might even brainwash Boruto into believing how big of a threat he has become. That will persuade him to abandon the village soon after. The next Amado theory is a really bizarre one, so hear me out. We know the scientist was involved in granting the cyborg siblings the majestic powers, but what if he was actually trying to recreate the most advanced dojutsu of the universe, the jogan? The omnipotent abilities of the Senringan and the jogan being referred to as the pure eye definitely have something to do with each other. So what if Boruto's jogan will manifest sometime in the future, and upon seeing the godly power in the eye of a child, Amado will try his best to get his hands on that power. The old man could make the life of Boruto miserable just for the sake of that eye, and all of this will lead to Boruto leaving the village forever. But there must be a reason for Amado to be so fond of the jogan. Well, what if I told you the entire OTSUTSUKI race is terrified of this power? You can find out more in this video.